Was normal. Hey, good morning. This is the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. It's about 7:34, and 2 hours later, we're getting there. Working our way back into the 5 a.m. hour slot. I am Greg Mester, Scrum Master and Agile Coach, and here, the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show, we talk about Scrum and Agile in a practical and tactical way. We have a little guest person over here, Bubbles, the cat who watches the show, just wants attention. Anyway, so we want to bring value to the customer and make it so we're not working 50, 60, 80 hours a week and have some fun along the way and get back to family and friends. I got the mission statement back up. And what do? Excuse me. It's early. Still waking up. So what I want to talk about today, I put up on there big rollback and CD rules. And it's not CD rules as in rules the world, though it's getting there. It's CD business rules. So we'll talk about that. So I'm going to talk about rollback, watching the SpaceX attempted launch of their Starship yesterday, which they stopped with seconds to go, and there was tens of thousands of people watching that demo. There's a lot of people watching that one. And then also CD rules. I'm going to talk about that as applied to the launch and as it applies to where I've been in the past and what people want to do. Just give you an idea and heads up for those who are looking to do a CI/CD DevOps type model. So yesterday, SpaceX about to launch their Starship. It's supposed to go up in the air and go up and come back down and do a belly flop, come back and land vertical, which is pretty amazing. Do I have my rocket ship? So here's my rocket, right? So it goes up, and then it comes back down, and then it does one of these, and then comes down like that. I think they should just launch it 15 kilometers in air and have it land. I don't think they should do the belly flop. If I was actually Elon Musk and his crew, I wouldn't do the belly flop right now. I would just get it to fly up in the air and come back and land and not worry about the belly flop. But that would be just me, But maybe it has to have the belly flop or it won't work. I don't know. Maybe it needs a belly flop to slow down. So anyway, they rolled it back with like seconds to go, right? So can you imagine doing your software release and you're at the end and something's wrong, so you have to roll back at the last second? Are you prepared? Are you used to it? So this is what is interesting as I watch this process. Everybody else gets upset. Like most people, like, oh my God, we didn't make our rollback. I'm like, it's okay. So we learned a lot. What worked, what didn't work. Maybe they learned some new business rules, and we're going to get to that in a second. Why did it roll? Why did it stop? Why did it stop with second? I mean, I put 90 seconds, but I'm hearing it was like 2 seconds, 2 seconds to launch. They actually had stuff coming through the engine, and then they didn't light it, so they didn't ignite the engine. So something was wrong. We'll see. Maybe it was just a CD business rule. We'll see. Okay. So we're going to talk about that next. But is your company ability to roll back and make those decisions, those hard decisions? Well, it's better off that we don't let it go and have it blow up than go. And what's the risk? How do we weigh that risk? Who makes that decision? So, but what they, to them, it's like it's a prototype. It's a test. We do this all the time. We're used to things may not get there at the right time, and we have no problems because it's part of our culture to say no, don't release. How many companies out there don't have that culture that says no, don't release. It's not that it's not perfect and it has to be pixel perfect and it has to be this, but it's just there's something that could hurt us or could hurt the delivery, and we shouldn't go out, right? So is your company in the Agile world capable of changing and say, well, no, it's okay. We'll do it. We'll try again tomorrow. We'll do it the next day. We're fine. We have the processes in place that we can radically roll it back and then do it again without really much thinking. Because they're going to think of it this way. Okay, companies worried about rolling back software and not releasing the stuff. They're moving a whole freaking aircraft, a whole rocket Starship, and they're talking about trying again today. So they had all their stuff, didn't work, and they're going to try it again today or tomorrow. There's software involved in that, right? There's software checks. There's all kinds of things. So when I hear companies like, "Oh, it'll take us a month," I'm like, they're launching a Starship. It is rocket science. At that time, I said it is rock. Anyway, okay. So that's what I want to talk about. That just is your company capable of rolling back or stopping the lift off the last couple seconds if it really shows that they should? Can you? And that's the job of a product owner. I guess they should have started that way. That's like a product owner saying, "No, it's not ready to go. I don't care what you guys did, and it's just not what it's supposed to be. So we're not going to release it." A lot of call, a lot of guts in that, right? But that's pretty much what a product owner has to do. If it's not ready, you got to say, "No, we're not going." Or even if it's a development person, a team has to say the same thing. If it's not ready, we're not going to release it. Sorry, not going to make the deadline. We're missing a couple of things to make sure it works, and we don't get 50 million calls from DevOps desk. Ops is operations, customer service. So now we're going to go in, and now I'm just going to jump right into the customer service thing on the Agile front. So CD, continuous delivery, continuous deployment, depending on who's saying the words and using them. There's a CI/CD. There's a continuous integration part too. So what you have to watch out for. A lot of these companies, "Oh, we're just going to do CD and we're going to do it." So, but do you have the business rules in place to understand how to release it? Well, what are you talking about? We just turn it on. I'm like, no, there's business rules. There's rules like, say, a computer knows 0 and 1, yes or no. It's very black or white. In the computer world, there's no gray area unless you write a business rule on how to interpret those gray areas. When they're launching yesterday, the last second, a computer said something wasn't right, so we're shutting down. It made the call. Whether they wanted to, it could be the most minor thing. It could have been a darn mouse crawling across an infrared camera could have been looking for any kind of animals crawling across the launch pad, detected a little mouse and said, "We can't go. There's something moving on the launch pad, so shut down." Where a human would be like, "It's a mouse. Fry it," right? And sorry about the vegans and the PETA people, but yeah, that's basically it. So unless you program that stuff in, what to watch out, what's critical, what's not, it's not going to be able to interpret it. So when I have these companies that are talking about doing CD, and I've had one company, and they're like talking about it years ago, and they went CD. Well, part of the rule was couldn't have any bugs in the code. It had to be 80% coverage and so on and so forth. Well, none of their code was at that level, right? So they had to spend months getting their code to a point where it would go through to the CID rules check. They didn't think about that, right? So I always challenge people, "Oh, we're going to do this." It's like, yeah, but you better watch out, because if they turn that on and you don't have all these rules checked, you're never delivering code to production. And they look at me like, "What? What are you talking about?" They don't get it. It's a computer. Computer says all the rules are go or no go, right? There's no human in there hitting a button to release the code, whether it works or said, "No, it's a risk is acceptable." No, the computer doesn't understand those risks. It just launches, right? So people don't know that. But that's an example. That rocket going off yesterday was a classic example of a business rule in the CD world saying, "No, you're not going to go, and your code does not go to production." Teams have to understand those rules, so when they write their code and deliver it, they know what they're doing. So I just want to share that with you. A heads up on the CD. If your company looking at it, I think I'll post something like that. It's a classic example of CD and the business rules taking over whether or not your code gets into production or not. So I wanted to share that as an example. Hopefully today it'll go off. I had 4 YouTube things going on yesterday, watching different feeds and everything. It was pretty amazing. Everybody was so excited. There was tens of thousands of people. I mean, there was a good, and now some people are probably looking at it, but there is, a couple of the major channels, like 30,000, 40,000 people watching at a time. So pretty big demo. Anyway, all right, so that's what I got today. I can't talk, blah, 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 blah. Thumbs up. If you like the show and the topics, try to relate stuff that goes on that people may or may not see, what applies to Agile, code releases, things we do. And remember, can you roll back? Do you have a culture where it's okay to say, no, we're not going to go, even though the date's there? Even though you got 20,000, 40,000, 100,000, 200,000 people watching what you're doing, and you say, no, we're not going to go because there's a fault. Maybe they're going to learn those faults, adjust the algorithm in the go, no go CD code to say, no, it's not a major issue. We can bypass that code. Maybe they just missed one. Could be. Ring the little bell if you like the show and tell your friends about it and say hi to Bubbles. Bubbles sleeping now. She's a tired little kitten. And you have a great day. It is halfway through the week. Enjoy. Happy scrumming and see you next time. Bye.